The earliest newcomers to New Mexico came in search of gold for their kings and queens and souls for God and the Catholic Church. They never found the fabled golden seven cities of Cibola, but they did convert many to their faith and left a rich legacy. Today, we visit the quaint village of Chimayo, the majority of its citizens of Spanish descent, famous for its weavers and its miraculous shrine El Santuario, built of adobe by Don Bernardo Abeta in 1816 to commemorate his miraculous healing on these grounds. Passing through the Campo Santo, the church cemetery, we enter the little chapel, inside the pungent odor of incense and burning candles. On the ancient walls, paintings and santos. The people pause here to pray before entering the small room containing the healing sand. The hole in the floor from which this sand comes doesn't get any deeper or wider, no matter how much is carried away by the faithful. The sand is always miraculously replenished, and that's the way it's been for more than a century. Some pilgrims are said to mix the sand with water and drink it, a grain or two perhaps. Some rub it on withered and aching limbs. Others may toss some into a fire to ward off illnesses or a threatened storm. Another revered attraction here in Chimayo is the Santo Niño, the children's saint, which needs its shoes replaced from time to time because they are said to get worn out from the mysterious pilgrimages from the church taken by the Santo Niño when all are fast asleep. The faithful believe that the Santo goes out to heal and comfort those in need. The Santuario was obtained from private holders some time ago by the Santa Fe Art Colony, which gave it to the Catholic Church, which maintains it. Good Friday and Easter, the roads leading to Chimayo and its village streets are lined with pilgrims. There are other attractions here as well. After seeing them, be sure to visit this excellent restaurant with its New Mexican food and delightful atmosphere. Tell your friends about Chimayo and come visit us. Historic Chimayo in Enchanting, New Mexico. All references from this point will be from Albuquerque. Take I-25 north out of the city, 60 miles to Santa Fe. Then get 285-84 north out of Santa Fe, 25 miles to the southern edge of Espanola. And then you'll take State Road 74. 10 miles on this road, you'll pass the little village of Santa Cruz, and you may want to stop in and see the Church of the Holy Ghost, beautiful and historic. Now just 4 miles beyond Santa Cruz on the same road, 74, you enter Chimayo. Look for the Santuario on your right. You may miss it and go through town. If you do, just ask, and you'll be directed. It's right in town. Hollywood has its streets of stars with handprints, footprints, and even bust and facial prints of the stars of the entertainment world. Well, you might call the place we're to visit today, El Morro, Inscription Rock, the Hollywood Boulevard of early New Mexico. It all began hundreds of years ago when prehistoric Indians carved crude pictures and symbols into the sandstone on the sides of this 200-foot-high bluff. Sometime later, Spanish soldiers and missionaries paused to carve their names and messages. The earliest known Spanish inscription reads, "Passed by here the Governor Don Juan de Oñate from the discovery of the Sea of the South on the 16th of April, 1605. Oñate's mention of the Sea of the South was actually the Gulf of California, which he saw but didn't discover. Here's another most interesting inscription. By here passed the ensign Don Joseph de Pibi Vasconcelos, the year he brought the cabildo of the realm at his own expense, the 18th of February, the year 1726. Interesting story, but no one has been able to determine who the man was or what he was talking about. Perhaps the most famous Spanish inscription is this one, which translated from the Spanish means, "Here was the General Don Diego de Vargas, who conquered for our holy faith and for the royal crown all of New Mexico at his own expense, year of 1692. The earliest known English inscription is this one, Lieutenant J.H. Simpson, USA, and R.H. Kern, artist, visited and copied these inscriptions September 17th and 18th, 1849. The name Williamson, Holland, and John Udell were carved by members of the very first wagon train to pass here in 1858. They were attempting a new route to California. They did not make it. This is without a doubt the fanciest inscription, 1858. Interesting inscriptions, magnificent scenery, a museum, campground, and wildflowers. By the way, other fascinating sights on the way, the Malpais, the Ice Cave, and Bandera Crater. But these we'll visit on upcoming Enchanting tours. Tell your friends about El Morro, and come and visit us soon. Hasta la vista from Enchanting, New Mexico. To get to El Morro, take I-40 west from Albuquerque, pass Laguna and Acoma Sky City to Grants, 72 miles west of Albuquerque on 40. Take the second exit to Grants, and you'll see the signs telling you to turn left when you get to the top of the exit ramp. That is State Road 53 South that you'll be on as you go back over the interstate heading south. You will pass San Rafael on your right, going 25 miles from Grants to the Ice Caves and Bandera Crater on your left. You should stop there, interesting. Then continue on South 53 another 16 miles or so, and you'll soon be entering El Morro National Monument Inscription Rock.
Well, sir, you're looking at the only place in the United States where the borders of 4 different states meet. This here's New Mexico, over there's Utah, Colorado, and Arizona. This handsome young tourist from California is sitting in 4 states. The youngster does it the easy way, and this here tourist from Switzerland the hard way. Either way, it's kind of fun to take pictures here on this old concrete slab out in the middle of nowhere. But don't say this is nowhere to the Indians that live around here, though. The Navajo, the Northern Utes, and the Hopi claim this is the most sacred land of all. You might look at it as barren wasteland, but one thing you'll agree, it sure is haunting and windy and dusty and yet strangely beautiful. Sudden mesas and bizarre monoliths, real alien-looking landscape to outsiders. Some mighty fine sheep are raised out here, and much of it goes into those prize Indian blankets, which find their way from the Crown Point auctions and elsewhere to destinations worldwide. The ocean is a long way from here over in that direction, but in that direction, nonetheless, is a ship that's been underway forever. And what a ship she is, sacred to be sure. Yep, there's a shipwreck sailing in this high sea 1,500 feet above the desert floor and at least a mile above sea level. This ship is somewhat evasive, I'll tell you. Seems the more you try to get to her, the farther away she gets. That's the way it seems anyway. You can drive up near the base if you can find that road off Red Valley, but don't try to board this earthbound craft. She's off limits, strictly off limits, Indian sacred ground. But she's a sight to behold, I'll tell you. And many stories and myths are told about her, too. She's docked within a reasonable distance off 666 out of the town of Shiprock between there and Gallup. Sundown or just before is a time to study her from bow to stern. She's a beauty, all right. Shiprock, New Mexico, USA.
Getting to Shiprock and Four Corners is attained by taking I-40 west from Albuquerque to Gallup. Then you'll want to be on 666 north out of there, heading for the town of Shiprock, 92 miles away. However, you'll see the beautiful Shiprock Peak before you get there. It'll be on your left. You can't miss it. There's a gravel or dirt road that will take you closer, and there is a marker on 666. Then get back on that road and head toward Shiprock town and look for 64 on your left before you get into town. Take it, and it'll take you to the Four Corners State Monument, which is about 30 miles up the road after you get back on 64. Have fun. You're about to take off on an enchanting tour. This time we're at the Bosque del Apache, about 90 miles south of Albuquerque, New Mexico. This National Wildlife Refuge is a kind of stopover resort for migratory waterfowl on their way from northern states and Canada. Here the cranes, ducks, geese, and other birds find protection, food, and warmth in New Mexico's winter sunshine. Established back in 1939, this 57,000-acre refuge includes about 1,500 acres of alfalfa and grains grown by local residents and left standing for the birds. We have a variety of wildlife here the year round: mule deer, antelope, coyote, bobcat, raccoon, and other animals. The winter, though, brings all the migratory visitors. During peak months of December and January, the refuge is a harbor for as many as 30,000 ducks, 10,000 greater sandhill cranes, 40,000 snow geese, and 2,500 Canada geese, and even a few endangered whooping cranes from time to time. Maybe you'll enjoy visiting in the summer, but you'll see more of the birds in the winter, of course. Birds, deer, and other animals that live here can best be seen during the early morning or late afternoon hours. Just beyond the southern border of the refuge is the unmarked site of the Civil War Battle of Val Verde, where Union and Confederate troops fought in 1862. A short distance from that stands the riverbank ruins of Old Fort Craig, which was once an important New Mexico territorial military post. To get to the Bosque del Apache National Wildlife Refuge, just drive south out of Albuquerque on I-25, past Socorro to the San Antonio exit, about 11 miles south of Socorro. The little village of San Antonio, by the way, is the birthplace of the late world-renowned hotel man Conrad Hilton, who put together the worldwide hotel chain. After you take a peek at San Antonio, just drive south on Old US 85 to the refuge. The road is paved and clearly marked. Tell your friends about fantastic Bosque del Apache National Wildlife Refuge and come and see us soon. Until next time then, our best wishes from Enchanting, New Mexico. Getting to the Bosque isn't difficult at all, but to review briefly, take I-25 south out of Albuquerque, passing Socorro on your right up the road, and go 10 miles beyond there and exit at San Antonio, Conrad Hilton's birthplace. You'll get to the Bosque del Apache Road in San Antonio, and you're just 8 miles away from there. We have 9 more tours for you to see, but first I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you briefly about other videos produced by Rocky Mountain. First, there's the exciting Big Iron, the Gunfighters. You'll really like this one, with many stories ranging from Billy the Kid to Doc Holliday. Action sequences by the Wild Bunch from the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona. Mysteries and myths of New Mexico will fascinate you. And there is Ghost Towns of New Mexico, 15 of them, from White Oaks to Shakespeare. Ask for Big Iron, the Gunfighters, Ghost Towns of New Mexico, and Mysteries and Myths of New Mexico wherever you buy your videos. Las Vegas, like a jewel in the enchanted crown of New Mexico. So much history here, and the laid-back style that gently takes you in. Hard-working, honest people here, one rarely hearing of violence. Oh, there once was violence here many years ago. Just about every gunslinger on both sides of the law either camped here or passed through. The Durango Kid, Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and others. Howard Bryan, in his newest book, Las Vegas, called it the toughest of all frontier towns. Tombstone, Deadwood, and Dodge City rolled into one, which seemed like a Sunday school picnic compared to Las Vegas back then. The Optic, the local newspaper, reported 29 fatal shootings in a 30-day period back in 1880. Las Vegas also played host to President Teddy Roosevelt and his beloved Rough Riders meeting in the Castaneda Hotel here. Jack Johnson successfully defended his world boxing title in 1912. The old Santa Fe Trail ran right in front of the historic Plaza Hotel. The famous wagon train route was doomed, though. Its death notice served on July 4th, 1879, when the first train arrived. That Santa Fe Depot building still standing today. Highlands University, founded in 1893, proudly counts the old Ilfeld Auditorium on its impressive campus. Famed tycoon philanthropist Andrew Carnegie built this library, fashioned after Jefferson's home, Monticello. This one featured General Stephen Watts Kearny when he took possession of New Mexico for the U.S., ending Mexican rule. The old Plaza Hotel has seen it all, seen them all, from Billy the Kid, the real one, to Tom Mix, the early film cowboy. Modern films shot here include Easy Rider and Red Dawn. Other buildings, the Charles Ilfeld Dry Goods Firm, the Lewis Ilfeld Law Office, the Romero Building, Stern and Hahn, built in 1879, the First National Bank, circa 1880. 900 commercial, public, and private buildings and homes on the National Historic Register. This is the famous Montezuma Hot Springs Resort area of long ago. Jesse James hid out here in 1879. Today, it's the Arm & Hammer United World College. Las Vegas, a must-see on any visit to New Mexico. You residents who don't know Las Vegas are missing one of your best. Tell your friends about historic Las Vegas. And come see us soon here in Enchanting, New Mexico. To get to Las Vegas from Albuquerque, take I-25 north all the way. You won't have to go through Santa Fe because I-25 just lets you whiz on by if you'd like. But you may want to stop for lunch or dinner. There are many terrific places, but we personally like Tomasita's in Santa Fe, especially for lunch. Las Vegas, it's an interesting place, as you've seen, and be sure to take a look at Montezuma just down the road, and if you have time, Fort Union is just up the road, you might say. Las Vegas, interesting place. You're looking at a scene that many have viewed before. Picture an Indian up on that rock. Maybe a conquistador stood where you're now standing to view this exquisite sight. Billy the Kid may have passed here briefly. Out in that direction, there were soldiers stationed at old Fort Wingate. And out there in that maze of lava are rock piles that were markers for Indians crossing this no man's land. Those cairns were like boys on the water. After all, this is a frozen sea of lava. There's majestic Mount Taylor in winter garb, sacred bit of property to the Indians. That mountain belched the molten lava from its bowels 4 millennia ago, and it flowed over the land for miles and miles. These Badlands just recently became our newest national monument, which we call El Malpai, or El Malpais, the Badlands. It's a rather interesting story that this sandstone corridor, with its rugged, almost impassable terrain that ancient Indians knew well and respected, has finally become quite an attraction to those of us who came much later to settle and visit here. Coronado found it interesting when he passed here long ago. Juan de Oñate scribbled his name on the side of a sandstone mountain near the end of this sea of lava back in 1605. That attraction, now known as El Morro, or Inscription Rock. The Zuni and Acoma Indians crossed here for many years, and surely the Anasazi, the ancient ones who disappeared from Chaco Canyon, knew this area well. Those hardy souls in wagon trains knew it and tried to avoid it. And more than 40 years ago, this man and his wife began calling the area home. The spot he claimed through inheritance from his father is Bandera Crater and the now famous Ice Cave, one of a number in the area. David Candelaria's Ice Cave, like the others, contains ice year-round, and inside the temperature stays a constant 31 degrees, despite the desert heat. This ice cave is the most accessible to you, the visitor, and is well worth seeing. It's just about a 20-minute drive or so south on State Road 53, which you catch on the western edge of Grants. The sandstone overlook is about 17 miles south on 117 east of Grants. Then continue on another 10 minutes, and you'll come to La Ventana, the largest window rock in New Mexico. The Malpai welcomes you to its haunting presence, punctuated by jagged lava, ice caves, La Ventana, and much more in this ancient, brand new national monument, El Malpais. Getting to the Malpai, I-40 west out of Albuquerque. That's historic old 66 paralleling 40 some of the way. Laguna and Acoma Sky City both on the way. Take 117 south about 8 miles before getting to Grants at Stuckey's, and you'll run into the Malpai all on your right. And up the road about 17 miles or so, the monument's brand new visitor center. You don't have to be a skier to enjoy the beauty of winter, but it helps. On this edition of Enchanting Tours, we're taking you to 4 of New Mexico's favorite ski resorts, and to put the icing, no pun intended, on the cake, we'll meet the founder of one resort, an 81-year-old gentleman who still skis. Know what it was like to be in the company of a man who made one resort world famous, and visit another resort that even the conquistadors might have enjoyed and probably did. And you'll join the wackiest winter celebration on the slopes. See this man? Well, more than 40 years ago, he was one of the founders of this ski area, now known as Sandia Peak, which overlooks Albuquerque. Robert Norhaus at 81 still skis just about every day during the season.
You know, George Burns is booked, I understand, till he's 110 years of age. How long are you booked for? I honestly believe that you'll be skiing in the year 2000.
Maybe, but
I
could
really
well
believe
be.
it.
Well, if I'm alive, I'll be skiing.
If Bob is well thought of, then this man, Ernie Blake, was revered. Blake, a legend in New Mexico and a member of the National Ski Hall of Fame. We asked him why he started Taos Ski Valley.
Utter foolishness, utter foolishness.
Don't you believe it? Nothing Ernie ever did was foolish unless it was
It's
dying.
good to see you again, Ken.
The wildest winter ski celebration in New Mexico, no doubt, is at Angel Fire, and in particular the shovel races, stock and modified. Not far from this beautiful Moreno Valley and Angel Fire is Red River. Some call it Little Texas, because it seems half of that great state skis here at Red River. We like the old-time atmosphere at Red River. Red River, Sandia, Taos, Angel Fire. Quite a quartet of fun places to visit anytime. For Sandia, take I-40 east out of Albuquerque to Tejedas, then on up North 14 to the ski area turnoff. For Taos Ski Valley, I-25 north to Santa Fe, then 285-84 through Taos Town. The road is plainly marked to Taos Ski Valley. For Angel Fire, don't go through Taos. Turn right at the sign just before you get to Taos. Red River is in the same general area north. Taos Ski Valley, Angel Fire, and the Red River Triangle. A visitor to New Mexico has so many places, attractions, historic monuments, and beautiful scenery vying for attention that one may find it difficult to decide which to favor. On this Enchanting tour, we will present some events and attractions that may help you decide future tour plans. We haven't the time to present all that may interest you, but this is a good sampling of some of New Mexico's unique happenings. If we were awarding Oscars for such things, the first one would go to a Gallup celebration, a magnificent spectacle of 50 Indian tribes participating in the Intertribal Indian Ceremonial in Gallup and Red Rock State Park in August each year. Rodeos, parades, dances, and much more. Bring your camera. In early October, the most photographed event in the world takes place, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. It's almost an unbelievable sight, 600 or more balloons filling the blue skies over Albuquerque all at one time. They come from all over the world to be a part of this week-long event. It is indeed a memorable experience here at the largest balloon fiesta in the world. Another Indian event that almost overwhelms you with colorful costumes, dances, and sheer numbers gathered in one place at one time is the Gathering of Nations Powwow, about the 20th of April at University Arena in Albuquerque. Spectators are welcome to view the fantastic dance events and other attractions. This is probably the largest gathering of its kind around. Very colorful, exciting Indian celebration. We want to mention two relatively new events that would appear to be candidates as major attractions in the future. One is the Albuquerque Southwest Airlines International Air Show held in early June. Some of the world's greatest aerobatic stars perform daring and beautiful maneuvers with their aircraft. And you'll see antique and other special aircraft, even a beautiful female wing walker. Finally, what could be the toughest sports event anywhere is held in mid-February in Grants. Male and female entrants must bike, run, snowshoe, and cross-country ski from downtown Grants to the top of 11,000-foot snow-covered Mount Taylor and then back downhill. Sheer torture, but oh, what an event. It's the tough enough Mount Taylor Winter Quadrathlon. You can bring your cameras to all the events we've mentioned. Thanks for being with us on another tour in Enchanting, New Mexico. 3 of the events we have shown you today are in and around Albuquerque, so there's no problem there. And one of the other events, the Winter Quadrathlon, is held at Grants and at Mount Taylor nearby. Just take I-40 west the 72 miles to Grants. You get to Mount Taylor through Grants. Then for the Gallup Ceremonial, just 65 miles from it, west on I-40 to Gallup, New Mexico. We are in Bernalillo, just north of Albuquerque, to witness one of the most colorful and intriguing events in all of New Mexico. These are the Matachinis. This ancient ritual is said to be a reenactment of Cortez's conquest of Mexico. Some say the dance is merely a symbol of good over evil, though. The dances you see here perform in August of each year in Bernalillo. The rebirth and preservation of this most unusual custom is generally given to the Matachinis of El Rancho, New Mexico. The Matachinis are called upon to dance at a number of communities here in the land of enchantment. A Matachini performance certainly one of the most colorful and engrossing events you'll ever see, and there are variations of the dance. But generally, the dancing and the hypnotic, methodic music are very similar wherever performed. A key figure is El Mañorca, playing the role of Cortez. An Indian version has this role cast as the Aztec leader Montezuma. The other Matachinis are the Spanish conquistadors. A young girl called La Malinche is based on Cortez's native guide and interpreter. In the dance, the young girl represents goodness and purity. El Torito, played by a male, spoofs, threatens, teases, and provokes mock battles. El Abuelo, a clown-type boogeyman, moves around directing the performance and attempting to draw the audience into the celebration. Abuelo's a guy who will not be ignored, and he might even be a bit frightening to the members of the audience who may have never seen the Matachinis. However, you should know he means you no harm, and you're welcome at the Matachini performances. And who knows, you might even become a part of them. The word Matachin is difficult to define, but some scholars think it might have come from an Arabic word meaning to assume a mask, and is associated with the Moorish domination of Spain. Actually, it's anybody's guess, though, for there are no written records of the Matachinis. There is renewed interest in this mystical dance, and you'll find the dances of the Matachinis an event you'll never forget. Check your area for performances. Here in Bernalillo, they're held, as we said, in August each year. The Matachinis, one of our unique traditions. As we've mentioned, Matachini dances can be found at various towns in New Mexico, mostly in the northern part of the state, though. But the closest event of this nature to Albuquerque that we know of is the one at Bernalillo. And by now we feel you know certainly how to get there, right? I-25 north for 15 miles to the Bernalillo exit. Pretty warm for that event. A hat would be a good idea for the men and an umbrella for the ladies. If you ever set foot out here, you'll think you are in another world. Everywhere you look, you see eerie and yet breathtaking scenes. This is just a small peek at the vast Vista Badlands of New Mexico. This desolate area, which encompasses thousands of acres of moon-like terrain, was once green with vegetation, and 70 million years ago, giant dinosaurs made this one-time swampland home. Today, it's as dry as the old bones that are found here. Yet there is life, for today it's a home of reptiles, small mammals, and such revered birds as the endangered bald eagle and the prairie falcon. This area is desolate, but it's also hauntingly beautiful, and the entire area was important to the ancient Anasazi and later the Utes and the Navajos. The Navajo claim this is a sacred land, and they've used the earth's natural colors as pigments for their ceremonial sand paintings. The white man also has an interest in Vista. Scientists are interested in studying the Badlands' role in the history of the planet Earth. But there's another interest held by some, and it has nothing to do with history or the spiritual significance of the area. This interest is monetary. That's right. The Badlands you see here are rich. The Vista is sitting on billions of tons of recoverable coal. Fortunately, the 1984 Federal San Juan Basin Wilderness Preservation Act protects the 4,000-acre Beasteye Wilderness area, as well as some 27,000 acres to the west. Yes, this is one of the richest cold areas in the entire world. The Indians were aware of it long before the white man arrived. They used to, and maybe some still do, fashion figurines, beads, and other adornments from the coal. The Beasteye not far from the renowned Chaco Canyon, and you can reach this area from there. But we'd recommend taking Highway 371 south out of Farmington or 371 north out of Thoreau off of I-40. There's no park office for this wilderness area, and your best bet is to watch for a sign about 35 miles south of Farmington, or start looking after you pass mile marker 61 if you're heading toward Farmington after leaving Crown Point. You can see much of what you've seen here just by stepping out of your car. To see it all, you'd need special permission and probably guides to assure your safety in the rugged area and in dealing with the elements. The Beasteye, another unique jewel in Enchanting, New Mexico, USA. I-40 from Albuquerque past Grants to Thoreau. Take 371 like you're going to Farmington, and about 100 miles up the road, you'll be in part of the Beasteye. By the way, you might want to stop at Crown Point, a good watering place for travelers. It's an Indian settlement, quite active, and the scene of the famous rug auctions, where people from all over the world bid for the famous woven goods. And by the way, the huge supermarket there is a very good one. Shop it or have lunch. In Farmington, the Bullack Ranch is a must. Our enchanting tour this time takes us to one of the true wonders of New Mexico, Chaco Culture National Historic Park, better known simply as Chaco Canyon. Today only impressive ruins, but between 1000 and 1100 AD, Chaco was a social, economic, and religious center of a most sophisticated society. Today, Chaco is 30 miles from any paved road out in the middle of nowhere, you might say. But back then, an intricate network of roads and trading systems connected to small outlying settlements, many as far away as 100 miles, all led to Chaco. Chaco was home to 13 separate cities, or pueblos, which supported 5,000 people or more. The most impressive structure here is Pueblo Bonito, which once stood 4 stories high. This is the way it appeared at its zenith. Pueblo Bonito contained some 600 rooms and 40 kivas. Without question, this was a very large apartment complex with work and play areas, ceremonial grounds, and the Great Kiva. At Pueblo Bonito, you can see the original Vegas. These are timbers used in the seating. And we are talking 1000 AD, when the Indians carried these beams from forested areas miles away. The Chaco area, evidence shows, was occupied by the ancient ones, the Anasazi, as early as the basket maker period, AD 1 to 450. The classic Great Pueblo period saw the construction of dwellings such as Chaco's Pueblo Bonito. The people who dwelt here were strong, apparently healthy, intelligent, industrious, and happy. And then it all suddenly ended. By 1200, Chaco was almost completely abandoned. No one knows why such an advanced civilization would just disappear. Some think they were chased away by the Apaches and the Navajos. That's doubted, though. Others say perhaps a severe drought dried up fields and drove the Anasazi toward such rivers as the Rio Grande. Still others say trade with the Toltec Empire of Mexico stopped because of the downfall of that area about the same time. You take a guess what actually happened. Maybe some of the Indians you'll buy pottery and jewelry from today are the descendants of the Anasazi. Inquire in Grants, Gallup, Farmington, and Albuquerque on how to reach Chaco Canyon. Chaco Canyon, a beautiful, mysterious, haunting treasure, one you should not fail to experience in your journey through the land of enchantment, New Mexico. Two ways to get to Chaco from Albuquerque: through Grants, 605, eventually hitting 57 and on up to Chaco. They're both the same distance. The other route, however, is better travel from Thoreau to Crown Point. 2 miles beyond Crown Point, look for the sign which says Chaco Canyon. That'll be 57. Then you'll hit the 20 miles of dirt road. In the rain, forget it, but in good weather, it's fine. Don't miss Chaco. There used to be a sign here that said this was the home of 4,000 people and 6 old soreheads. The people are still here, but the old soreheads left town, went to Farmington, I guess. So they took that sign down, but another one remains, and it announces an award the town got back in the 60s, and Aztec, New Mexico, to this day, does its darndest to live up to it. Aztec is a neat town on US 550 north of Farmington, en route to Durango, Colorado. Actually, Aztec seems more like Durango than some New Mexico town. I guess the Victorian houses make it so. Even the main drag is reminiscent of some of the towns. Come to think of it, Las Vegas, New Mexico comes to mind when we see some of these structures. Early settlers here thought the area was part of Mexico's great Aztec Empire. The fact is, the Pueblo at Aztec, which you see here, was not Aztec, but was built in the 12th century by Chicoan Indians known as the Anasazi, the ancient ones, who of course also built at Chaco Canyon and elsewhere in the area. So you see, Aztec is incorrectly named. Oh, well, it sounds good. The ruins here is what is left of a 3-storied Pueblo, very much like Pueblo Bonito at Chaco. It had hundreds of individual rooms and dozens of small kivas, and one great kiva, this one, and the only one that we know of that's completely restored. Like Chaco, this Pueblo was abandoned in the 1200s. Later, in the 13th century, some of the Mesa Verdeans migrated this way from Colorado. They also left, though, about 1275, and the Pueblo here was mostly uninhabited until the mid-19th century. Today, Aztec is one of the most important ruins in the Southwest. Don't fail to go inside the Great Kiva and feel what it might have been like in there 350 years before the Spanish arrived, or 400 years before Columbus. You'll also want to check out Aztec's museum at 125 North Main Street, downtown Aztec. You'll find old buildings, oil field relics, tools, and artifacts from throughout the area's past. This is one of the best little museums we've seen anywhere. And there's also recreational sports here. Fishing is great, Navajo Lake not far away. Aztec, New Mexico. And if you've put off visiting because of those old soreheads, remember, they all left town, went to Farmington. Just real friendly folks around here now. I-40 from Albuquerque to Theroux, then take 371 out of there north to Farmington, about 125 miles or so, and Aztec is just about 9 miles beyond Farmington on North 550, like you're going to Durango. The subject of this enchanting tour is surrounded by the beauty of nature and man. There stands majestic Mount Taylor. Not far away, 3 national monuments: El Morro, the Malpais Badlands, and Chaco Canyon, the treasure of the Anasazis. Also nearby is Acoma Sky City, Laguna Pueblo, and Zuni. Now with all that, you'd think this area unique enough. But this immediate area was also known at one time as a sheep center, a cavalry post town, the carrot capital, a logging head, and a railroad town. But what it has now that no other place in the world has is this: a uranium mining museum and replica mine. And it should be here, for after all, at one time, Grants, New Mexico supplied 1/3 of all the world's uranium ore. This man, Patty Martinez, started it all when he found the first uranium ore. He's gone now, and so is uranium mining. But the history of it is preserved here in a simulated mine and in the memory of miners. Here's museum guide Perry Fisher.
Now here in the station, and these little cars, railroad cars, are part of the transportation from the ore in the bottom of the mine to the surface. This is a raise, is what they call it, and it's where the bad air goes out. Now there's one of these not more than 400 feet apart all the way through the mine. And not only does it take the bad air out, but if we had a bad cave-in down in the mine, then here's a way that the man could go out. You can just back up in here, stand there, they let a rope down, hook it onto you, and you can take you right up to the safety through one of these raises. This is a Gardner Denver, a 30-pound jackhammer. that drills the holes in, or they can put the dynamite in there. They'll put it in the hole, they push it all the way back in. They want it to go off in different sequences so that it'll blast this out and make a nice smooth drift.
We're sorry, but time does not permit us to show and tell all about the entire museum. There is much more, and we really would like to show you all of it. But you'll have to visit in person to see it all, here at the unique Grants Mining Museum. And as Perry reminds us, it is
the only one in the world.
Well, by now you could tell me how to get to Grants, couldn't you? So I'll make this real brief. I-40 west out of Albuquerque, 72 miles. All together now, 72 miles west of Grants, the former uranium mining capital of the world. Now, don't worry about contamination, folks. There isn't any. The uranium mine is a replica, however realistic. It may interest you to know, by the way, that Grants has one of the lowest radon counts in the entire United States. And with that, we'll end this edition of Enchanting Tours. Hope you've enjoyed gallivanting all over the state as we have. It is a fantastic place, isn't it? Come and visit us again, only next time stay a bit longer. And you natives may be taking your home state for granted. Don't do it. It's too unique a land for that. Don't forget our other videos, Big Iron, the Gunfighters, Mysteries and Myths, and Ghost Towns of New Mexico. If you've enjoyed tours, you'll love the others. Oh, by the way, if you have any trouble finding them where you are, write me at Post Office Box 2183, Milan, New Mexico, 87021, or just give me a jingle at area code 505-287-7341. Now, this is Ken Dunnigan saying adios, and thanks so much for being with us on these enchanting tours.
Adios.